Hello, guys, and welcome to the final episode of Let's Play Sayonouta. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series so far. This is Skithicon, and I hope you will enjoy the exciting conclusion, or the other exciting conclusion, or the other exciting conclusion. This is ending number 3. So last time we saw what happened when Koji, going into Fuminori's house, gives him a phone call, tries to fuck him up, and that doesn't really work out too well for him. That's didn't go well. Could have went better. So let's go with the other options and have him instead call Ryoko. This is right after he finds Omi's innards in the refrigerator. The ringing of her cell phone interrupts Ryoko's labors. When she sees that the caller is Tono Koji, she unwittingly breathes a sigh of relief. This is Tanbo. What is it? I've searched Fuminori's house. Even over the phone, Ryoko can clearly hear the change in Koji's tone. His is the dull, flat voice of someone who has had all the energy beaten out of him. Fuminori has murdered people. He's killed too many people to count, and he's eating them. Despite being an amateur, Koji has already come face to face with something particularly horrible. In consideration of the shock he must have received, Ryoko decides not to say anything. Omi, and probably Tsukuba, are already dead. Doctor, I was wrong. The fact that you're still alive to make this call means that you haven't made a fatal mistake yet, Ryoko says, praising Koji in her own way. Whether or not he is comforted is a different matter. Anyway, don't screw up this time. Do nothing until I return. What you're dealing with here isn't going to go down easily. With her understanding of Saya deepening by the hour, Ryoko is able to make this declaration with new confidence. Fuminori already knows that I'm alive. I didn't tell him who rescued me, but he's definitely on guard. I see. Koji's actions were rash, but there's no point in regretting them now. The more proactive approach would be to figure out a way to use the pressure that Koji must have placed on Fuminori. Besides, the fact that Ryoko's involvement is still secret makes her a wild card. Depending on how she plays it, this advantage could be decisive. Have you found anything, Doctor? Not enough yet, Ryoko answers, glancing sidelong at the loose-leaf pages still scattered across the table. Let's see. I'll wrap this up by evening and return to Tokyo around midnight. You refrain from making any more trouble until then. Got it? Yes. The glazed-over quality of Koji's voice is actually reassuring to Ryoko. Yeah, this is the sort of thing you want a dead inside person for. Because, normal people just get frightened off. Who needs that? She knows that he won't try to have everything his own way anymore. His is the voice of someone who has become a machine, able to do whatever it takes to accomplish a single goal. Koji has decided to eliminate Sakisaka Fuminori, and in order to complete that objective, he's even willing to accept the help of Ryoko, whose principles hardly mesh with his. A praiseworthy change indeed. After Ryoko hangs up, she gloomily counts the stacks of loose leaf that still need to be restored. There's no time left. She'll probably only be able to get the general picture. If she has to go into battle with only fragmentary knowledge, then there's one thing that she absolutely must decipher: Ogai's biological reports, which should contain information on the strengths and weaknesses of the organism called Saya. All she can do now is pray for luck as she delves back into the mountains of paper. Driving was such a dangerous proposition for me that I hadn't gotten behind the wheel of a car since my accident last summer. I'm not sure if this scene is an exact repeat of what we saw in the other ending or not. I can't see the roads as roads or the cars as cars after all. Until it became necessary this morning, I'd completely given up on the idea of driving on public roads. Yes, this is looking to be an exact repeat. I'll just skip over it until we catch up to something new. And we're back. This was the scene with Fuminori and Saya finding their new mountain hideout and Fuminori showing off the axe he bought. This is where it starts to become different. Where it branches off. So when's Koji-san coming? That's Saya asking. I don't know. He'll call sooner or later, and then I'll lure him here and finish him. Koji will definitely come. I know that he won't leave Saya and me alone. We could just keep running now that we've started, but I want to eliminate Koji as soon as possible. Therefore, when he contacts me, I intend to meet with him, unless it's an obvious trap. We're finally going to get another human's meat, but it's just going to rot here. There's no refrigerator. Why don't we use it to trap other animals? It could be bait for stray cats or crows. Looks like this is more reused dialogue from the other ending. It's too dangerous. If they somehow get away with the meat, someone might find it and make a lot of trouble. I see. It's true. Humans are extremely dangerous, and their filthy, stinking bodies make me sick just by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to leave behind everything in our refrigerator. Well, there's a lot of animals living in the forest around here. I don't think we'll have any trouble finding food. We have 3 mouths to feed, you know. Are you sure? Leave it to me. I may not look it, but I'm good at hunting. I'll be sure to get lots for us. Okay. Looks like you're going to be the breadwinner of this family. I still think that is very cute. So productive. That's Saya right there. Saya giggles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of hers adorable. I wonder how long we'll be able to relax this time. Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emptiness to which her question leads. How long? I wonder. Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we'll have to abandon it eventually. Just like when I failed to silence Koji, the slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy. Some dumb kids might decide that this old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for a new development. In order to be together with Saya, I've chosen to live differently than other people. We'll probably never be able to find peace in this world teeming with humans, not unless we somehow escape from it. I think it'll be a long journey. I pull Saya into my arms and fold my hands around her slender shoulders, then whisper, but life is like a journey anyway. Nothing stays the same forever. The only question is whether you watch time pass you by, or are swept up in its flow. I guess you're right. Saya smiles softly, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there is peace and contentment in her expression. We'll be together, though, so I'm not lonely. You're not either, are you? No. I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arms, I will gladly pay any price. And besides, she adds brightly as though trying to cheer me up, I know that one day we'll be able to live without hiding from people. I can promise you that. It sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason she seems almost absolutely certain. That day might be tomorrow, or it might be far off in the future. Even I don't know when the sign will come. It's my first time, after all. I'm a little bbit scared.
怖いんだけどね。
If you've been watching these episodes in order, you of course know what Saya is referring to now. I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time she's said or done something mysterious. She's performed unbelievable miracles any number of times. So, there's hope for us too? Yeah, Saya nods cheerfully. I'm sure that it'll be my last present to you, Fuminori. My first and final duty. Alright, now here we've got a new scene. The hands of his watch move with agonizing slowness, as though counting down to the end of the world. With entirely too much time on his hands, Koji went back to his apartment, showered, changed clothes, and even had his first full meal in days. He wanted to take a nap, knowing that he needed the rest, but no matter how hard he tried, sleep never came. Forcing himself to relax only made his nerves colder and sharper. With nothing else to do, he decides to wander aimlessly around the city until nightfall. You know, the smart thing to do would probably be to, get some sleep, but whatever. Downtown Tokyo is bustling with peaceful revelry. Surrounded by happily smiling pedestrians, brightly shining lights, and windows decorated early for Christmas, it seems as though all of the happiness in the world has been gathered in one place. Koji takes it all in, burning it into his memory like it's the last thing he'll ever see. Is the world this beautiful because of the terrifying insanity lurking in its shadows? He'll probably never be able to bask in the glow of the city again. Perhaps that is why everything seems so dear to him. Koji gazes at the city for hours. It feels unreachably far from him, as though he's reading the obituary of his first love, lost in the distant past. That's a beautiful phrase. His phone rings at 8 p.m. It's from Tanbo Ryoko. Their conversation is short, ending immediately after they decide on a place to meet. And so ends Tono Koji's final night of peace. Oh damn. I'm really pumped for this ending. Tanbo arrives at the 24-hour family restaurant at 1 a.m., 1 hour later than agreed upon. She has a heavy-looking duffel bag under her arm. Koji doesn't feel like asking what inside the bag is causing it to bulge out all over like that. Sorry, I had a lot to get together. Ryoko doesn't sound at all apologetic, but Koji decides to not say anything and just nods expressionlessly. Only a few tables are filled at this hour, like lonely islands in the midst of the vast restaurant. After sending the lethargic-seeming waitress away with an order for 2 coffees, Koji and Ryoko are left alone, as though forgotten, in a corner of the dining area. I very much enjoyed dragging friends out to Denny's or similar restaurants at 1, 2 a.m. to play card games and such, so, you know, that's what this scene reminded me of. That has nothing to do with anything, so I will, continue with Saya. I hope you Super Saiyans are pumped to see where this goes. You guys get my joke? Good. Okay, whatever. Fuck it, let's go. So, did you find what you were looking for? Koji asks bluntly while sipping dutifully from his 3rd cup of watery, tasteless coffee. I'd like to think I didn't make you wait for nothing, at least. I'm still not sure of anything, though. I think Fuminori is pretty stressed, too. I left him hanging for a day since I told him I'd call, after all. Do you think he's that concerned about meeting you? Oh, Koji's smoking now. His reaction to the name Saya was very clear. In the silence that follows, Koji tries to soothe his parched throat with another mouthful of weak coffee. I see, Ryoko mutters. So, it is Saya. It's obvious that the frown on her face isn't because of the bad coffee. Have you found the answer, Doctor? Koji asks, practically demanding an answer. Do you know what this saya is? Ryoko ignores Koji's question by pretending to be engrossed in her coffee, but that only works until her cup is empty. That's cute. Staring at the brown stain at the bottom of her cup, Ryoko says, her voice hard and flat. You were foolish enough to ignore my warning, but I'm just as stubborn, so I'm going to say this one more time, Tono-kun. You should go home and forget about all of this. You really are stubborn, Koji replies, smiling bitterly instead of getting angry like he did before. Are you saying that I still haven't crossed the line separating me from you and Fuminori? You still haven't seen the most damning part of all of this. As far as you're concerned, Ryoko continues with a disparaging smirk, your best friend in the whole world suddenly went crazy and became a cannibal. That's all this thing is to you, isn't it? That's all? Unable to come to terms with what Fuminori has done, Koji can only deal with it by clinging to the obsessive desire to kill Fuminori. Yet, despite that, Ryoko makes this nightmare sound like just the beginning. Getting some flashbacks to Moby Dick with that obsessive desire to kill. That's a joke, actually. I haven't read that book. Sometime. Koji still doesn't understand where her morbid cynicism comes from, nor does he want to. You say there's something more, but aren't you just imagining it? That you can think... Wait, that you can think that still means that your wounds are still shallow. Once again, Ryoko brusquely states her opinion as fact, her tone making it clear that she doesn't care whether or not Koji is satisfied with her explanation. If you back out now, they'll probably heal, given time. You haven't crossed the final line yet. This is, Bloodborne's insight mechanic right here. Without getting emotional like before, Koji considers Ryoko's words. Someone buy me a PS4 so I can let's play that game too. The final line. True, Fuminori is somewhere beyond that. Although Koji has gone far enough to be willing to kill Fuminori, he has no intention of eating his enemy's flesh once he's dead. That, at least, still separates Koji from Fuminori. Then what about Ryoko, who's been treating Koji like an ignorant fool ever since she saved him from the well? How close is she to Fuminori? You're saying your wounds are deeper than mine? In response to Koji's sarcastic question, Ryoko's cold smile becomes a bitter, self-mocking smirk. This gun was my father's, you know. Ryoko pats her duffel bag where the outline of something hard inside is clearly visible. Because this disappeared from his gun locker, he was kicked out of his local hunting club. I don't actually know gun laws in Japan that well, but I imagine it's similar to, I believe, Singapore, where you can't actually keep your guns at home, but you need to keep them at a shooting club. I feel bad about that. My parents were always proud of me. They probably never imagined that their daughter would steal a gun from their safe. So you had a good reason for doing that? No, not at all. Her quick denial isn't what Koji was expecting. At the time, the Ogai mess had already ended. At least, that's what I thought. He'd vanished without a trace, and I was sure that he'd never appear before me again. I didn't take this gun because I needed to shoot or kill something. Then why? Because I couldn't sleep. That's all there was to it. I love that. For anyone watching this who is a gun owner, can you let me know if this was unique to me or if you had this experience too, where after getting your first firearm, there is a lot of thinking of, I don't have to put up with this bullshit. I'm a gun owner. That really comes with it. And yeah, it's like how there's the whole stereotype of soccer moms saying, oh, do you need that to make your dick bigger or something? But there really is some amount of confidence boosting to owning weaponry. Whatever, I'll shut up with that side note and let's continue this. Ryoko pauses, apparently needing time to decide how best to explain more clearly. Until then, she continues, choosing her words clearly. I'd kept a Nara hidden next to my bed. I couldn't stand being alone in my room at night, you see. I wanted to know that, no matter how unimaginably insane the world might become, I had some choice, other than just running around screaming. That's why I needed some kind of weapon that I could count on in my room. I understand you 100%, Ryoko. Koji is struck speechless. He's amazed, even impressed, that someone with such a serious case of delusional paranoia could function as one of the elite 2 university's leading doctors. I want to be a leading doctor too. It didn't really work though. My nightmares just got worse every night. Anata just wasn't enough to let me sleep peacefully. That's when I stole my father's gun. By cutting down the barrel like this, the shot spreads over a wider area and causes more damage. Well, damage is a wider area. I guess it doesn't go as deep into the body. I hear that, even in America, modifying a shotgun like this is a serious crime. With the gun sitting in the back of my closet, I was finally able to sleep. 1 night out of 3, that is. Yep, Ryoko's mental state is so fucked. Surprise! I like her expression. At this point, Ryoko seems to have gotten everything off her chest that she wanted to. Smiling like someone who just finished a hard job, she adds, a gun's a great thing to have, you know? It really is. You can use it to blow your enemies away, and if that doesn't work, you can always stick it in your mouth and pull the trigger. Ryoko's a goddamn amazing character. You don't really get to see much of her outside this ending, but, wow. High five for Ryoko. #1 badass in this whole work, I believe. Doctor, you should get professional help. Fuck that, it doesn't work. Now that's lie if any of you guys are suicidal, it moderately works. So you know, don't kill yourself, just message me on YouTube, because I have nothing to do all day and I'll talk to you. Thanks for the honest opinion. You won't be able to talk like that for much longer, though. Not if you go any further. Koji's already doubtful that meeting with Ryoko before facing Fuminori was really the right thing to do. The one thing that Koji and Ryoko have in common is an unwillingness to leave Fuminori to the proper authorities. Fuminori not only killed Koji's lover and friend, but went so far as to defile their corpses. Koji doesn't even want to give him the chance to get off on an insanity plea at trial. No matter what sins he must bear, Koji will put an end to Fuminori with his own hands. If he doesn't, he knows that he will never sleep again. It helps to have a partner in crime, but only when that partner doesn't cause trouble. Ryoko talks big about exposing Ogai's secrets, but she might just have a head full of nonsensical delusions. If so, Koji needs to rethink this whole thing. If you're telling me to leave everything to you, Koji says with unflappable determination, please give me some reason to trust you. Prove to me that there's a reason for you to be so obsessed with Ogai. Show me everything he did. So you'd go that far? Oh well. Ryoko smirks and shakes her head in exasperation, but pulls a stack of paper out of her bag without further resistance. The sheets of loose leaf are bound only with cord. After you read one line, it continues on the same line of the next page. Anyway, just skim through it. As directed, Koji looks through the handwritten pages and gives up after less than 3 minutes. Is this the manuscript for a sci-fi horror novel or something? It's a pretty bad joke. I didn't think Ogai had such childish hobbies. Koji deliberately scoffs at the document, doing everything he can to show contempt for what he just read. At the same time, he tries desperately not to remember the mountain of bones in Ogai's bathtub and the unidentifiable smell permeating Fuminori's house. The specimens and research papers that Ogai brought to the university 1 year ago were just as unbelievable, Ryoko says calmly, coldly ignoring Koji's disdain. Apparently, he continued his research in secret, using our supplies without permission. But he made a mistake and was discovered. That's when things got crazy. Judging by the equipment he was trying to use, he meant to treat his equipment as a P3 level biohazard. I have no idea what that means, but whatever. To be honest, that might not have been sufficient for what he was dealing with. He should have had the nearby civilians evacuate, but the big shots did their thing and made the whole mess disappear. My guess is that the P in P3 stands for pandemic, but I'm really just pulling that out of my ass, so I have no idea. In exchange, we had to go to the trouble of eliminating every single rat from the campus, including the things that used to be rats, that is. You guys know what that means, having seen the previous ending. At their first meeting, Ryoko brushed Koji off when he asked about Ogai Masahiko. Now, however, she's telling the whole story. Her voice is clear and emotionless as a machine's. In the end, we gave up trying to explain what had happened. No one could figure out where the materials he'd brought with him had come from. In retrospect, everyone did the wise thing. They knew how to keep the boundary between reason and fantasy where it should be. I, unfortunately, was not so smart. Ryoko pauses for a moment, then grins with self-disdain so maniacal that it strikes Koji like a blow. I searched everywhere for Ogai, flushed him out, and finally learned what he'd been doing. I found the people he'd been dealing with, those who'd encouraged him to perform his experiments. That's when I started sleeping with Hinata. I'd learned just how absurd, full of holes, and unbelievable our world's reason is, after all. Yep. Cynicism comes from insight every time. As though fleeing from the quiet insanity that he keeps glimpsing in Ryoko, Koji finds himself paging through the loose leaf in his hands and reading a line at random. The flesh covering the organism's body is not fibrous, but reticulated. In other words, it's an extremely tough substance that expands and contracts not in one direction, but in all directions. This means that slashing or piercing wounds have very little meaning. Since the flesh can contract in any direction freely, any wound will be sealed instantly. It's nonsense. What else could it be? If it's true, then everything else, all the logical laws that rule the world, is completely meaningless. So, you believe what's in this, Doctor? I lost any reason to doubt it long ago. I've said it before, but again, I love how dead inside Ryoko is. Ryoko reaches into her duffel bag, this time removing a stainless steel thermos that looks to hold about 500 cubic centimeters. Not cubic centimeters, cc's. This is the secret weapon that'll help us defeat Saya. It was a pain to get, but it should work like a charm. I can't take this anymore, Koji snaps, no longer able to disguise his frustration. I don't care what Saya is anymore. All I care about is finishing off Fuminori. I can't leave this to you. I see. Now that she's given up on persuading him, her assent is swift and cold. At this moment, Koji's fate has likely ceased to matter to her. Alright then. You do everything you can to take down Sakisaku Fuminori. I'll take advantage of the opening you create. I won't get in your way, and I'll even take care of things when you screw up. Despite the determination in her voice, Koji can't bring himself to trust this paranoid doctor completely. Do you have a reason to kill Fuminori? I like things neat and tidy, you see. I can't stand people like him who lurk outside of the world. They're like cockroaches in your bedroom. Can you sleep with them scuttling underneath your pillow? The moment I find one, I kill it and destroy all trace of its existence. I have to, for the sake of my mental well-being. Koji understands her feelings. They're similar to his, after all. Koji doesn't want to bring a murderer to justice, nor does he want to take revenge for Omi and Yo. If he did, he could just have left everything to the police. The reason he can't is that the villain is Fuminori. The man he believed was his friend has turned his whole world upside down. Koji wants nothing more than to destroy all of this insanity, including his own betrayed self. His self-loathing is what's keeping him on his feet. Okay, let's move in for the checkmate. Go ahead and call Sakisaku-kun out. Koji nods, pulls out his cell phone, and calls his friend for what will probably be the last time. The call goes through quickly, as though Fuminori was waiting for it. Sorry to keep you waiting, Fuminori. I finished my preparations. Koji, where are you? Fuminori must have been quite anxious to hear from Koji. His voice is hard and completely emotionless. Let's just say, I'm right behind you. Koji can't help but smile disdainfully at Fuminori's disappointment. Perhaps Ryoko's maniacal sadism has rubbed off on him. Well, have you decided to let Tsukuba go? Yeah. I suppose I have no choice. He's lying, Koji thinks, remembering the contents of Fuminori's refrigerator. Just what part of Yo did you eat, Fuminori? Did you carve that innocent girl up like a cow or a pig? Koji, bring your evidence along with all the files you've gathered. When I'm satisfied that they're the real thing, I'll hand Yo over. Fine. Where? First, come to Y Station on the O line. When I'm sure that you're alone, I'll tell you the exact location. You're being awfully careful. No tricks. You have 45 minutes. Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response. He won't tell me his location until he's sure I'm alone. Not bad for a mere medical student. I'm impressed. Ryoko's praise sounds serious, drawing a glare from Koji. We'll leave my car here. Tono-kun, is your trunk large enough for a person to fit inside? Yeah, but are you serious? You've seen too many movies. This adventure is more dangerous than anything you've seen in a movie. With those bold words, Ryoko grabs her duffel bag and rises from her seat. So, you're the one who chose this place to meet, right? Yeah, why? Take responsibility for the coffee, she says, tossing him the check that was left behind by the waitress. Cute. Even after Koji arrives at Y Station as directed, Fuminori calls him and makes him change locations 3 more times. Koji's beginning to doubt that Fuminori is trying to make sure that he's alone. He might just be using the time to guess when Koji arrives at the designated location. Nevertheless, Koji can't let his guard down. Fuminori might choose any moment to make sure that he isn't bringing any help. If he makes a mistake and puts Fuminori on alert, Ryoko will lose her chance to make a surprise attack. She'll just have to put up with the cramped trunk for a little while longer. After the nature preserve and the dry riverbed, the 4th location Fuminori sends Koji to is at the tree-covered top of one of the foothills, high above the developed area at their base. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium there. Here's the real destination. The park and river that Fuminori sent Koji to were empty this late at night, of course. This time, however, his instinct is telling him that it's definitely a place that no one could find, even by accident. It looks like this is the final stop. Koji drives up the steep incline, leaving the houses far behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorstep, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone in secret. These forgotten places aren't only found far away from cities. Even when surrounded by people, places that draw no attention can become blind spots in the world. Getting some repeating dialogue again. A broken down gatepost suddenly appears in the Accord's headlights like a ghost rising from the darkness. Looks like this is the final stop. Koji rolls up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself to the silence of the forest. His cell phone starts ringing almost immediately. He doesn't need to check who it's from, of course. Who do you guys think it's from? I'm here. Yeah, I heard you. Welcome to my new home. Surprise, it was Fuminori. Fuminori is nearby, close enough to hear the sound of the Accord's engine. A shiver of excitement shoots up Koji's spine. Come inside. Yo is waiting. Fuminori hangs up without another word. After grabbing his new maglite from the glove compartment and checking that the revolver is still in his pocket, Koji opens the door, making sure to pop the trunk at exactly the same time. Ryoko shouldn't need any more explanation than that. Realizing that the interior roof light will stay on and broadcast that the door and trunk aren't closed, Koji quickly unscrews the bulb, then gets out of the car and deliberately slams the driver's side door hard. Mountains of trash litter the modest front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. Koji sees piles of everything from small refrigerators and mopeds to huge chunks of concrete and plaster that were obviously abandoned by the construction workers. The fact that they could get away with leaving all this stuff behind shows just how remote this place is. Glancing sidelong at the rear of his car, Koji sees no movement whatsoever inside the barely open trunk. Ryoko knows what she's doing. She probably intends to wait until Fuminori's attention is focused on Koji, then make her surprise attack. The moon is brighter than usual, allowing Koji to walk unaided through the front yard without tripping on anything. Staying alert, he heads for the building beyond the mountains of trash. Something must be buried underneath the piles of garbage, because the whole yard is filled with the sharp stink of chemicals. Even homeless people probably wouldn't come to this place, much less live here. If you need to get out of the wind and rain, there are plenty of places more suitable than this. When he reaches the doorless gaping entrance to the building, Koji glances back the way he came. His Accord, parked at the gate, is perfectly hidden in a blind spot behind the mountains of trash. Even if Fuminori is watching from inside the sanitarium, he shouldn't be able to see Ryoko crawl out of the trunk. It looks like she'll get her chance to take him by surprise. How many times has he stood alone like this in some ominously silent place, far removed from his everyday life? It's as though sneaking into deathly quiet houses and finding traces of unimaginable happenings has become as normal as going to class. The houses that he explored before were empty and dilapidated, but the necessary trappings of life were still present. They were like freshly shed cicada shells. I should have actually looked up how to pronounce that word. This place, however, is different. The building is a perfect ruin, its walls and pillars rising from the dark forest like an army of ghosts, with no sign at all that people once lived and worked here. The structure resembles a skeleton more than a shell. Time and the elements have stripped it of its former shape, and now there is only death. Koji has gone as far as he can. This must be the final stop. What will Fuminori's next move be? There's no question that he's planning to make Koji disappear. But how? Just as he's about to turn on his maglite, Koji reconsiders. If he wanders around with the light on, he'll be broadcasting his exact location. That'll give the advantage to Fuminori, who's most likely laying an ambush for him. He holds the maglite before him in his left hand with his finger poised on the switch. In his right hand, he raises the revolver, keeping both the gun and the maglite pointed in the same direction so that he can be ready to aim at whatever shows up when he turns on the light. Koji steps quietly into the dark ruin. It takes a while for his eyes to adjust, but even then, he has only the moonlight streaming through the empty windows to guide him. Everything appears gray and indistinct. However, Fuminori has to deal with the same conditions if he's hiding here. You guys, I'm sure, remember what is coming. This is a battle of nerves, exhausting and dangerous, where the first to make a sound and give away his position loses. The rooms on both sides of the hallway are all open. Some are even missing their doors. Koji sidles up to each entrance, checks to make sure that no one is inside, then carefully proceeds on. The stink that has been assaulting his nostrils before entering the old building has changed. Now it smells more organic, like rotting meat. It's exactly the same smell that was filling Fuminori's house. The organism's reticulated flesh expands in a manner that renders cutting and piercing meaningless. 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 Koji grits his teeth and forces the madman's words out of his head. What good can come of taking them seriously? Now isn't the time for such useless... squish. At the sudden noise, Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound, like someone dragging their feet through a swamp, and it came from the room at the end of the hall. Something is there, something that can make noise. Moving silently and keeping his light and gun at the ready, Koji creeps in the direction of the sound. Squish, squish. Now it sounds strange, like someone squeezing mud through their fingers, and, as he gets closer, Koji begins to hear some kind of animal's labored breathing. Could it be Fuminori? No, that's impossible. He should be holding his breath somewhere, waiting for a chance to ambush Koji, not carelessly making noise. As he proceeds, the strange sound coming through the cracks in the concrete walls becomes clearer and clearer. You know, it just struck me that the smart thing to do in Koji's position to avoid this ambush while at the same time dealing with Fuminori himself rather than getting the police involved would be to just set fire to this place. Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? But you know, whatever, that's not what's happening, so let's see what does happen. Koji finds himself standing at the entrance to a room. It's filled with a thick, viscous darkness, just like every other room that he's passed. There's more than just darkness, however. Something is definitely there. You can hear pained breathing like that of a wounded animal, and what sounds like sobbing. Sobbing? Who's there? Koji whispers into the darkness. Now that he's given his position away by speaking, he might as well turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji hesitates to do something so irreversible. Sobbing. The last time I heard her voice on the phone, she was sobbing. The wheezing suddenly stops as though whatever it is holding its breath. And then... a whisper comes out of the darkness. Though not a human voice, not by any measure, it speaks some blasphemous semblance of human words. A nightmarish flash of insight connects the dots in Koji's mind.
Tsukuba?
It can't be. Tsukuba-yo doesn't sound like that. She doesn't smell like that. Koji, please kill me. If it's not Yo, then how does it know Koji's name? Why is it begging him for help? Time to see this scene some more. Even so, it can't be Yo. She's human. She wouldn't be slithering around like whatever slimy creature is hiding in the darkness. It hurts. It always hurts. This body. Save me, Koji. The thing wriggles closer to Koji. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light in his left hand on before it's too late, or to turn and run if he cannot. However, Koji's unable to accept either choice. He can only call out in vain to the amorphous shape in the darkness. Are you Tsukuba? Are you really Tsukuba? Let me die. No more. Please kill me. Something soft and slimy slides over Koji's toes. Instinct completely overrides his will, forcing him to turn on his light and shine it at his feet. The white beam reveals everything, the merciless truth that finally shatters Koji's sanity. Yep, it's happening again. Terror wipes his mind of everything but two words, gun and trigger, looping endlessly through his head. His right index finger responds with absolute obedience. There's an instant of tremendous light and sound, both more intense than he expected, and then the destructive forces are swallowed up by the darkness. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadows again. It hurts. Koji screams and desperately pulls the trigger again and again, believing that salvation can come only from his own finger. Light and darkness, silence and explosion, they dance their dance 3 more times. Koji doesn't even need to aim, of course. His terrifying enemy is right at his feet, far too close to miss. Ryoko warned him about how many bullets were left in the revolver, but that information has already been driven from his mind. Even after the cold, heavy gloom wraps itself around him once more, Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no attention to the clicking of the empty, worthless revolver. As though his panic-stricken body has just realized how strange it is to be standing on 2 legs, Koji loses his balance and goes down hard on his backside. Still frightened out of his mind, he keeps firing the empty gun from a sitting position. He knows no other way to erase the memory of the thing that he saw for a moment in the beam of his maglite. The light which fell from his hand during the attack is now lying on the floor, pointing in a completely different direction. All 4 bullets delivered by Koji's finger must have hit their target, enough destruction to kill any human 4 times over, and they were his last card to play. Which means that he's now sitting alone in the pitch-black darkness with no way to defend himself. And just as he realizes this, a massive cold, rotting flesh rolls onto him like a tidal wave. You know, this is exactly the sort of thing Fuminori gets off on. He can no longer even scream as he is pushed onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in its iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the thing as it crawls up his body towards his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrabbles wildly along the floor with his right, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. Devoid of everything but primal fear, his mind has regressed to that of a feral animal. And that, perhaps, is why, when his right hand closes around something hard at the last moment, he's able to instinctively recognize it as a weapon. Putting every ounce of strength into his arm, Koji swings the heavy object in his hand at the creature on top of him. With the wet sound of a water cushion being struck with a blunt object, Koji's attacker rolls off of him. As soon as he's able to move freely, Koji leaps to his feet and grabs his new weapon with both hands, as though it's a charm to ward off evil. For the first time, he realizes that he's holding part of a rusty steel pipe. It's sobbing again. I still really like this drawing. With a cry that's part terrified scream, part enraged roar, Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down on the cowering creature. He hears a wet sound and feels the blood-chilling sensation of its thick, soft flesh absorbing the blow. These combine to evoke a physiological loathing in him that wipes his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Consumed by the same desperation with which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow down on his enemy. After the 10th blow, it stops sobbing. After the 20th blow, it stops moving. and after the 30th blow it begins to feel and sound more and more like he's beating some viscous liquid. Koji doesn't stop thrashing the creature until he realizes, or rather recovers enough of his mind to realize, that whatever it might have been, it's no longer anything but a lifeless corpse. The pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids and filth, suddenly feels unbearably heavy. You still haven't seen the most damning part of all of this. Ryoko's voice plays back in his head. Now, at last, he knows how merciful her warning was. Now that his eyes are as open as hers, he is able to laugh disdainfully at his own foolishness. The 20 years of memories that he has built up as Tono Koji, if they were precious and dear to him, he should never have come to this place. The black flames of despair rise within him, consuming all other emotions. Unsatisfied, they keep burning until their uncontrollable heat sets his blood to boiling. Koji recognizes that heat as anger. Right now, he's undeniably filled with hate and rage towards the person who poisoned him with the truth and tore his innocence out by the roots. And then Koji, slave to hate, hears the breathing of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji spins around, swinging his steel pipe with all the killing force he can muster. His enemy hastily leaps back to avoid the strike, apparently not having expected his surprise attack to be foiled by Koji's counter. Twisted shadows dance in the light of the maglite on the floor. Readying his pipe for the next blow, Koji faces off against his second attacker. Koji never imagined that he would say his old friend's name with such hatred. Hey, swing just now. Trying to kill me or something. Fuminori's such a cunt, it's great. Even now Fuminori is smiling as though the huge axe in his hands is just some kind of joke. Damn, to be honest, I thought you'd hesitate a little more. You thought I'd hesitate? Against you? Koji sneers too, unable to contain his contempt for Fuminori's ridiculous notion. How did you kill Omi, you bastard? What did you do to Tsukuba? With all that you've done, you expect me to think twice about killing you? It's my line, Koji, Fuminori says in a low voice, looking sadly at the pile of meat that Koji just beat to death. How dare the likes of you do such a horrible thing to my yo? You'll taste 10 times her pain before I kill you. Prepare yourself. Now that fight scene. The blade of Fuminori's axe carves a murderous arc through the darkness, glittering menacingly in the faint light coming from the floor. Koji raises his pipe to block Fuminori's brute force swing. The shock of the heavy impact shoots down his arms, but his large frame allows him to push the axe back without losing any ground. The axe comes howling down on Koji a second time, and then a third. Fuminori's weapon, designed for practical purposes, is significantly stronger and easier to use than the piece of pipe that Koji just happened to find on the floor. With his hands full protecting himself from Fuminori's axe, Koji is unable to find an opportunity to counterattack. Each strike he blocks sends chunks of rust flying from his pipe. Come on! Son of a bitch. Koji blocks a crushing downward swing, then pushes back before Fuminori can pull his axe away, throwing him off balance. Stumbling backward, Fuminori plants his feet to regain his balance. Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a punishing low kick to Fuminori's outer thigh. Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. Koji, however, does not press his advantage. He just stands where he is, calmly spearing Fuminori with his stare. You haven't been in many fights, have you? That's such a douchey thing to say during a fight. I'm gonna do that at some point. Fuminori roars and comes in for another attack. Damage to his right leg seems to be slowing the swing. Easily blocking the axe with his pipe, Koji waits for Fuminori to exhaust himself. Die. So mad. Howling crazily, Fuminori delivers blow after heavy blow. However, the battle has already become one where composure, not brute force, decides the victor. When Fuminori raises his axe high for yet another attack, Koji sees that his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the haft of the axe with his left hand. As Fuminori recoils in fear, Koji brings his pipe crashing into his enemy's unprotected side. He feels the crunch of ribs breaking. The pain drives Fuminori to his knees. Staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head, Koji, surprised by his own lack of emotion, raises his pipe high to deliver the finishing blow. Which is when something wraps itself around his left ankle. Aw yeah, it's Saya time. The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to the floor before he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the steel pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand too is seized by the same flexible force. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now his blood turns to ice at the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. That monster is still... That's it, Saya, Fuminori says encouragingly, even while trembling, or while kneeling on the floor, his face twisted with pain. He manages a terrible, victorious grin. Saya. This thing is... Koji struggles desperately, trying to free his limbs from the creature's horrifying grip. But more and more tentacles swarm over his body like snakes, stealing his freedom of movement. The horror has already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the appearance of the creature attacking him is enough to threaten his sanity. His scream is suddenly cut off as a slimy appendage seizes his throat. This most deadly tentacle isn't just cutting off his breathing and circulation, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's squeezing tighter and tighter. I'm going to die. Just as that final thought enters his fading consciousness, a sudden explosion brings him back to his senses. Here's Saya's scream. With a horrifying, inhuman scream, the creature releases Koji and retracts its tentacles. The first thing he sees after regaining his mobility is Ryoko running down the hall with a smoking shotgun in her hand.
Sensei!
Doctor! Ryoko responds by tossing the silver tube in her other hand to Koji, who's still lying on the floor. It's the thermos she showed him at the restaurant, the one that she called her secret weapon. Word on that thing, Ryoko shouts to Koji. At the same time, she aims her gun at Fuminori, who's still on his knees about 5 paces away. The double-barreled, sawed-off hunting shotgun still has one shot loaded. The monster that attacked Koji is writhing in agony, apparently still recovering from Ryoko's shot. He's already seen, however, that bullets aren't enough to kill these creatures. Now is his only chance. Dude, what are you doing? Gritting his teeth against the pain of his broken ribs, Fuminori glares at Koji and Ryoko. Forcing himself to be calm, Koji stands and carefully unscrews the lid of the thermos. There's no question in his mind that something extremely potent is inside. As soon as it's unsealed, a thick white mist pours out of the thermos and the surrounding air suddenly becomes freezing cold. This is... Guessing what's inside, Koji ruthlessly throws the thermos at the pile of flesh convulsing on the floor. You guys figured out what it is? The thermos sails through the air, spewing white fog like a smoke grenade, its liquid content spraying the creature crawling on the floor like a baptismal font. Its scream this time is literally a death cry, incomparable to before. Wreathed in white smoke, the monster thrashes in agony. Its screams are joined by Ryoko's cackling. Oh, her expression! Amazing. How do you like that? Minus 197 degrees. Is it cold? Hot? Not so tough now, are you? To Ryoko, perhaps the joy of defeating her nightmare was worth sacrificing her sanity. The expression on her face as she laughs maniacally is clearly that of someone no longer in the right mind. Kill you. Fuminori's mad. Fuminori staggers to his feet, roaring black curses. His rage seems to have drowned out the pain of his broken bones. Ryoko is not one to underestimate the threat posed by his axe. Her mad laughter fades away, leaving behind a cold smile as she pulls the trigger. A short burst of dark flame, Ryoko's gun sputters and dies. Ryoko is not an expert on firearms. She never knew that shotgun shells need to be properly stored. In any case, she always expected that any situation where her gun would be necessary would also be one that she would not survive. Cursing in anger and dismay, Ryoko breaks the shotgun open and awkwardly pulls the dud out. Meanwhile, Fuminori stalks towards Ryoko like a vengeful demon, dragging the head of his axe along the floor. This is bad. Koji tries to charge at Fuminori, but only succeeds at sending himself sprawling again. One of his shoes is stuck to the floor, rendering him immobile. He realizes that the liquid nitrogen he poured on Saya has also frozen the floor around him. I figure you guys guessed it was liquid nitrogen. As Ryoko fumbles in her pocket for a new shell, Fuminori closes the distance and raises his axe in both hands. Damn! Koji curses and rips his shoe free of the frozen concrete, but he won't be able to make it to them in time. Ryoko thrusts a new shell into the chamber of her shotgun and snaps it closed, then looks up to find her target. Fuminori is right before her, too close to evade, and his axe is already crashing down upon her with the wind howling in its wake. Stop! Sounds of bones shattering, tendons snapping, and flash tearing blend together in foul harmony. A thick blade has entered through Ryoko's left shoulder, plowing through her collarbone and shoulder blade, smashing several ribs and popping her lung like a balloon before stopping in the center of her chest. Her expression frozen in shock by the impact, Ryoko sprays a geyser of blood from her mouth. She should have died instantly, but through some unimaginable force of will, Ryoko clings to life for a few seconds more. Grinning through her blood-stained lips, she raises her shotgun. Not to the front, but to the side. See that axe gun right into her there. Beyond the barrel of her gun, half its body wearing the 77.3 Kelvin mist like a white cloak of death, is the weakly wriggling Saya. No! The 12-gauge shotgun drowns out Fuminori's scream in a thunderous explosion of light and sound far more powerful than that of Koji's revolver. The destruction is absolute. The impact of the shotgun pellets completely blows away the part of Saya's body that fell prey to the liquid nitrogen. The frozen particles of Saya's shattered flesh drift to the floor like snow. Even Saya's special biology is insufficient to seal a wound of this size. Nearly half her body is gone, and from her opening pour her innards, a tide of liquid, slime, and fat whose color is far too foul to belong to any living creature. The monster convulses, wailing in a weak, pitiful voice.
Saya.
With his axe still buried in Ryoko's body, Fuminori stares at the dying creature, his expression utterly devoid of emotion. Koji grabs his pipe and prepares to attack Fuminori from behind, but freezes when he sees the emptiness on the face of the man he'd hated as a murderer. Fuminori pulls his axe out of Ryoko's corpse, and looks at Koji with glazed eyes, as though he doesn't recognize who he is. When Koji meets Fuminori's blank stare, he knows there is no longer anything left in Fuminori to kill. Fuminori grips the axe closer to its head and raises it high, the blade pointing at his face. Koji doesn't know whether or not he should interfere, but even if he wanted to, what could he say to stop Fuminori? Fuminori pulls his head back slowly, yet surely, then drives his face into the blade of the axe, like a spring-loaded toy. crunch. His skull caves in with a dull, wet sound, and the spray of blood catches Koji in the face. Despite Fuminori's complete lack of hesitation, his first attempt at suicide only succeeds in transforming his face into a piece of crimson art. Fuminori pulls his head back one more time, even slower than before. Then, with every ounce of strength left in his body, slams it into the blood-stained axe. The sound is wetter than before. Like a marionette with its strings cut, Fuminori tumbles face first to the floor. Koji stares at the two mangled corpses for a while, feeling completely left behind, like he doesn't know why he's standing in this place with a steel pipe in his hand. The stale air filling the ruined building becomes choked with the stench of blood, and the crimson puddles gradually spread across the snow-covered floor. Yet the tranquility of the scene makes it seem like a painting. A soft, slimy sound breaks the silence. Koji looks at the mortally wounded monster as though just remembering that it's there. The creature is clearly on death's door. Even so, it moves. Slowly, feebly, it drags its broken body through the sea of blood covering the floor. It's coming for Fuminori. Koji had forgotten his anger, but now it comes surging back at full force. Koji growls and stabs the monster with the end of his steel pipe. It convulses in agony, but keeps crawling towards Fuminori. Koji explodes into a frenzy of rage. Die. Just die already. Stay the hell away from Fuminori. Again and again, he smashes the helpless flesh beast with his pipe. For some reason, he's convinced that if he doesn't stop it here, he will have truly lost. The monster, however, never succumbs to Koji's beating, and finally reaches Fuminori's corpse. Don't touch him. Don't touch Fuminori. Damn you. Who the hell do you think you are? On the verge of tears, Koji continues to swing his pipe furiously. The monster's slimy fluids fly through the air, joining with the blood already covering his face. The creature extends one thin, trembling tentacle to touch Fuminori's shoulder, then lovingly caresses his blood-stained cheek. And then, it stops moving. Even in its final moments, the monster would not let go of Fuminori. It died, joined with him. At last, Koji knows that he has lost everything, forever. Intense fight scene, isn't it? Hey, Omi says enthusiastically, the exposed bones of her face clattering. Why don't we go somewhere with skating for this year's ski trip? Chunks of her body are missing, as though something's been nibbling on her. It makes her look a lot thinner. She'd been worried about her weight recently, but now she shouldn't need to diet. Fuminori laughs at Omi's crazy suggestion. That's right. You just started skating recently, didn't you? Sounds amused, but it's hard to tell from his expression, since his face has been cleaved in two by an axe. I don't think there are many first-time skaters in their 20s these days. I was kind of scared when I was little. Those shoes seemed like knives to me. Yeah, I know. If someone kicked you in the face with those on, you'd probably end up like me. Omi and Yo laugh at Fuminori's dumb joke. Yo never used to laugh with such exuberance. Now that she and Fuminori are officially lovers, she seems truly happy. But you were able to kill him on your first try. That's amazing, Omi-chan. It's not very different from swinging a baseball bat, after all. You just swing hard and let the weight of the axe do the damage. That's what Fuminori said, so I took his word for it and gave killing him a try, and it was fun. What is this strange feeling? Something's wrong, though Koji can't put his finger on exactly what. I want to see Omi-chan being eaten too. Ah, that's it. When he sees Yo's envious smile, Koji finally realizes what's wrong. Hey, Tsukuba. Huh? What's wrong, Koji-kun? Why are you the only one who's normal? Yo tilts her head quizzically like she doesn't understand what he means. Normal? I'm always normal. But back then, you were... Oh, I get it. Yo nods in understanding. You're talking about when I looked different than you. That was such a long time ago. It was? Of course, he replies, deflecting Koji's confusion with that uncannily cheerful smile. After all, you're one of us now. Oh, of course. Koji looks down and is satisfied to see wriggling tentacles where his arms and legs should be. Yep, that's exactly what you thought it was. When he opens his eyes, his pillow and mattress are soaked in sweat. It's always the same nightmare. He doesn't know how many times he's seen it, but at least he's not leaping out of bed screaming anymore. Clutching his throbbing head, Koji sits up in bed. It's 4 in the morning. He hasn't had nearly enough rest, but he probably won't be able to get back to sleep tonight. Anyway, it's time for a smoke. A full pack will last him until dawn. Now, where did he put the pack he bought yesterday? Koji wanders sleepily into the den, where yet another old friend is waiting for him. You look like hell, seriously. Oh, doctor. You're here too? Ryoko's chopped up corpse is sitting at his dining table, looking as deathly pale as ever as she sips coffee from a mug. You suffer every night, don't you? I bet you're not getting enough sleep. It's not always like this, Koji says amicably as he sits down across from her. If I take some medicine, it usually helps. For now. Hallucinations like these are easier to deal with than elaborate nightmares like the one he just had. They should probably worry him more, though. If you listened to my warnings back then, you wouldn't be in such bad shape now. Let's stop talking about that. What's done is done. Ryoko chuckles, smiling with the same cruel, manic smile that she used to when she was alive. Her left arm hangs from her half-severed shoulder, dangling like a forgotten wind chime. I see. Looks like you've come to terms with it. You were the same, weren't you? You managed to live as an elite neurosurgeon most of the time, after all. I don't know, despite the whole stereotype in media of the raving lunatic crazy person, I do think that the majority of crazies manage to blend in well enough. If you're just keeping up a facade, it's not that hard. Yeah, there you go. Ryoko knows the way it goes. The corpse shrugs her shoulders, her intact right shoulder, that is, and grimaces in disgust as she takes another sip of her coffee. Or I suppose, Koji's mental construct of Ryoko knows what's up, but, you know, same thing. But it's probably only going to get worse, you know. Time heals emotional wounds, but with you, it's more like you've been poisoned. She's probably right. Everyone dreams at night. No matter how dim the memories may get, the nightmares will always be there to tear into Koji with fresh fangs. The insanity that has taken root in his heart will grow, eventually consuming everything that's left inside of him. In my case, I've had you to learn from. I'm ready for anything. Oh, really? Koji nods, smiling confidently, then stands and walks into the bathroom, where he retrieves the weapon that he keeps hidden behind the mirror. It's Ogai's revolver, the one souvenir that Koji brought back from the other world that night. It was a lot of trouble, but I finally found someone who deals in these things. I bought bullets for it. Can you believe that ammunition is more expensive than the gun itself? How about that? In the mirror, Koji sees Ryoko with her axe-inflicted gash reversed. She raises her mug as though to toast Koji's resourcefulness. So, how many shots did you buy? Just one. This time, it's Koji who shrugs his shoulders. He uses both, exercising his privilege as a survivor. You see, I never want to be in a situation where I'll need more. Oh? The corpse in the mirror nods, seeming strangely reserved. You really do get it, Tano-kun. There's a brief silence. Koji doesn't really feel like getting all melancholy with a corpse. Hey, doctor, let's give the diner coffee a rest. If you want, I'll put on a new pot of... When Koji turns around, halfway through his sentence, he realizes that the dining room is empty, but for the silence of the night. And so, Koji finally returns to the world of the sane. He lights his first cigarette of the night and takes a deep drag. While sitting alone in his den, puffing on his smoke, he stares at the gun in his hand. He knows just how precarious a cliff he's standing on. The final line that Ryoko spoke of is now one step behind him. Having finally crossed that line, Koji no longer has anything to protect his soul. Now that Ogai Masahiko's delusions and Tanbo Ryoko's paranoia have all become tangible horrors, he knows what insanity and despair truly are. Even in the real world, Sakisaka Fuminori is already wanted for several gruesome murders. It didn't take long for someone to discover the stockpiles of human meat in the empty Sakisaka and Suzumi homes. In the two refrigerators were found the remains of Suzumi Yosuke, his wife and daughter, and Takahata Omi. They found the clothes and other effects of Tsukuba, but were unable to find any trace of her among the various body parts, a fact that made Koji's nightmares all the more vivid. Dr. Tanbo Ryoko of the T-University Hospital mysteriously vanished at the same time. Because she was Fuminori's chief physician, the police have been investigating her connection to his crimes. As for the two corpses secretly buried in the backyard of a certain ruin, well, they'll probably never be found, and this incident will just become another cold case. Koji alone knows what really happened, and he has no intention of revealing it. Not now, and not ever. Ogai's writings were not nonsense, which means that everything else was. What fool was it who said that men are the lords of creation? Those who believe in the worth of meaningless things like human wisdom and valor are those lucky people who have not looked into the abyss. Koji no longer has any common ground with those who are blessed with such ignorance and innocence. He knows he has been defiled by the insanity called truth, and he will never be able to believe again. If he has been poisoned, then that poison is none other than the truth itself. Just as pure oxygen is harmful to the body, the naked truth has the power to destroy men's minds. Oxygen only becomes air when combined with 5 times as much nitrogen. Truth is the same. Only by diluting it with lies and taking it in small doses can humans maintain a healthy soul. No matter how unimaginably insane the world might become. Words once spoken by the living Tanbo Ryoko passed through Koji's mind. I had some choice, other than just running around screaming. Without a doubt, that was the comfort that she kept hidden in her bosom, the only thing that allowed her to face her dreams each night. Koji has taken his predecessor's lessons to heart. Of course he's prepared. One bullet is always behind the bathroom mirror, promising him salvation. Wow, and that is the end of ending number 3 for Sayonota. I consider this ending to be personally my favorite, but I'd be curious to hear which ending you guys enjoyed most. The way I interpret it, at least, the big artistic point of this work is that performing actions like Fuminori did, ending up as paranoid as Ryoko was, or even just as cynical and nihilistic as Koji does at the end, are not so much just personality quirks, but rather that that whole general construct of psychopathy is brought on by trauma. Like, what's a good way to phrase it? It's like how you always hear about poverty causing criminals to become criminals and stuff like that. It's a very, very similar vein. You even had Koji having the nightmare at the end where he had essentially taken Fuminori's role from the exchange at the very, very beginning of the game, if you guys remember back to episode 1, where they were talking about going somewhere to skate for vacation. Fuminori even took over Koji's role with some of the dialogue, so, you know, interesting fact right there. That, I don't know, you can only take so much of the truth before you end up dead inside. I guess that was the least romantic ending, but, I don't know, this ending in particular is really, more than anything else, why I consider Sayonota to be the piece of art that had the most, that I was able to relate to most, like I mentioned at the beginning of the first episode. And with that, I will close up the 9th and final episode of Let's Play Sayonota. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the series, and, oh, before I go, I do think it's funny that, Koji places the bullet in his bathroom at the very end, with the whole thing with, Ryoko's shotgun misfiring because she stored ammunition improperly, and then he is just, storing the one round he has in the dampest part of his house or apartment or wherever he lives. That's, a lesson not learned. You're not really supposed to just dump ammo into water or get it really damp, but, hey, who knows? Maybe he will manage to kill himself in the future if he feels like it. And, yeah, knowing that if you really wanted to, you could just suicide out, and that the rest of the world doesn't really matter, so you might as well just bear your cross and keep going for as long as it's comfortable is real big driver for sanity, at least in personal experience. Anyway, once again, tell me what you thought of this series. Hope to make more videos very soon, and see you guys later. Bye.